Tonight, Troy's 125th celebration is almost here.
Plus, the campus organization takes a look at African American history. Stay tuned. TrojanVision Nightly News starts now.
From the high-definition digital production center on the Troy campus, with news from Troy University locations around the world, this is Troy TrojanVision Nightly News.
Hello and welcome to Troy TrojanVision Nightly News for February 23rd, 2012. I'm Judson Garner.
And I'm Bailey Majors. Thank you for joining us this evening. Troy students have selected a new slate of Student Government Association officers for the next school year. The results are in, so let's take a look at who is filling them. Next year's SGA president will be Will Thompson. Vice President for Legislative Affairs is Parker Smith. Cody Farrell will be the Vice President for Student Activities, and Matthew Hall was elected clerk, and Hope Gardner will be next year's secretary. The new officers will be sworn in on April 10th.
And in order for the SGA officers to be elected, students have to cast their vote, and they did so yesterday. Hernan Diaz takes a look at yesterday's election.
Is Troy University ready for a new SGA government? Yes, it is. On Wednesday, students on campus had the chance to vote for their favorite candidate for the new SGA government, because only one vote can make the difference.
Well, it's extremely important that students come because it's having their voice heard. I know a lot of people have the misnomer that my vote does not count, but literally in Student Government Association, every vote does count.
It's important to vote because it really allows you a place to get connected to what's going on and to really voice your opinion and what you want to happen in the school.
As the day passes, the candidates tell us how they feel about the elections.
Based on the feedback that I've had tonight or today as I've been campaigning out on the quad, it's been very positive.
It's been a lot of stressful days these past weeks, and I'm just ready to get it over with.
And when the votes were counted, Thompson ended up the winner. What are his plans for the office?
I think that there's a load of different things that I would want to accomplish, but one of the things that I propose that will get started within the first 50 days of my administration is my Trojan Pride Initiative, which is going to be a series of events and incentives to allow students of this university to become more prideful of their university and ultimately become better representatives of Troy University after graduation. So we're going to get started on that within the first 50 days.
Hernan Diaz, Troy TrojanVision News.
Turnout for yesterday's election was fairly low, with only 767 students casting votes.
Well, the countdown is almost up for an event that Troy University has been planning for and anticipating all year. That's right, the 125th celebration is almost here. With just one day before the 125th birthday celebration of Troy University, everyone is hard at work preparing for the big event. Classes have been canceled and the countdown is slowly ticking away, but what are we celebrating?
125 years ago, the university was literally born at a luncheon.
That's a really historic moment for the university that we would really like to mark.
Back at the convocation ceremony in August, Chancellor Hawkins kind of kicked off the timer to start a countdown to the birthday celebration, and this is what it's been leading up to.
The celebration will be held in Sartain Hall, doors open at 11, and the event will start at 11:30. There are several elements to the celebration that students may find exciting.
There'll be prizes and t-shirts, a few cupcakes even, and all around the world, all the Troy campuses at this exact same time are going to be celebrating the 125th birthday of Troy.
We're going to drop 1,000 balloons on the floor, but 250 of them have prizes in them.
Everyone is encouraged to attend the celebration, especially students at Troy University.
It's just great for students to get out there and show their support for Troy, and I think it's going to be a really good time.
We just think that it would be so important for them to come out, and also the faculty and staff to come out and be a part of that moment, be a part of that celebration, and it'll be something that they'll remember all their lives.
Once again, the 125th birthday celebration for Troy University will be held tomorrow in Sartain Hall. Doors open at 11 and the celebration begins at 11:30. Well, Judson, during the month of February, the nation takes time to remember those who've made contributions to Black history.
That's right, Bailey. And one of Troy University's organizations gathered students together in the spirit of the month. Christina Cook has the story.
Black History Month coming to an end, AAA played host to its annual Night of Color, with some of Troy University's predominantly black organizations recognize influential African Americans throughout history.
Night of Color has been a part of African American Alliance since early on in its founding because of the premises of African American Alliance being about focusing on the minority groups, or should I say ethnicities, on campus. It is about relating to our past, where we come from, our roots, and who we should be and where we're headed.
Special guest speaker Sydney Todd also delivered a speech to the audience about the importance of acknowledging the past, but moving forward towards the future.
Well, the title of this speech is called Bridging the Gap, and most people get caught up in learning the facts about our history, but they don't really dive into the facts and learn what history is actually about. I wanted to really go into the precedents and find the meaning so we can all know that history lives just inside of us. It's not just something we look at in books.
I really enjoyed Miss Sydney Todd's speech. She linked a few notable African American women from the past, and she told how they overcame adversity to get to where they were in life.
AAA wanted to leave their audience with a sense of pride and honor for those who led the way for all African Americans today.
For the future, I hope to just touch every heart in here and let them know that we should not just focus on celebrating Black History Month in February, but take it daily at a time and say that these people have really worked day in and day out for years and months when they were struggling during the Civil Rights era, and take that with them and become and empower themselves to be the best African American they can be daily.
Christina Cook, Troy, TrojanVision News.
The Miss Elite Society will play host to the next Black History Month event Tuesday, February 28th at 7 in the Trojan Center Theater. Admission is $2. All proceeds will go to the Relay for Life.
And now taking a look at news from around the state, a woman whose 9-year-old stepdaughter died after authorities say she was forced to run for 3 hours as punishment for eating a candy bar has given birth after she was arrested. Etowah County District Attorney says Jessica Mae Harden is under guard at a hospital after giving birth. She and her mother-in-law Joyce Harden Garrard are charged with the murder of the death of Savannah Harden.
A father fought tears as he testified about his daughter, whose former husband is on trial in Alabama on charges of killing her during a honeymoon diving trip. Tommy Thomas took the stand today and said daughter Tina Thomas started dating Gabe Watson after they met in college in Birmingham.
An environmental group has told Mobile officials that it intends to file a lawsuit over a river it claims to be filled with floating garbage every time it rains. The Dog River Clean Water Revival Environmental Group alleges repeated violations of the Clean Water Act.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, the women's basketball team is playing tonight. Tiffany Lester will have more details coming up in sports.
But first, your cell phone could have a lot to do with your manners. Find out more. We'll have that story after the break.
We've never been so connected, but bad cell phone manners could be driving us apart. I'm Alexis Christophorus with that story.
Separate raw meats from other foods by using different cutting boards. 3,000 Americans will die from food poisoning this year. Keep your family safer. Check your steps at foodsafety.gov.
At the heart of what we do in the College of Business is care for the students.
We feel like the students are our most important assets.
I have never been anywhere where I've known so many students on first-name basis.
What we try to do at Troy University is provide an experience to students that not only provide the curriculum that allows them to be successful in the business world, but we also try to expand their horizons to reach greater opportunities that maybe they didn't think they were capable of before.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
And now for a look at what's happening across the nation and around the world, we'll go to Judson Garner at the Global News Desk. Judson.
Thanks, Bailey. Police near Seattle now believe a shooting at an elementary school was accidental. Manuel Gallegos has a story from New York.
A third grader from an elementary school in Bremerton, Washington is in critical condition after being shot in the abdomen. Police say her 9-year-old classmate brought a gun to school in his backpack and it somehow went off. Now investigators are trying to figure out how the boy got the gun and why he brought it to school.
Let the PD conduct the whole investigation, do what they have to do.
The boy was booked into a juvenile detention center and could face numerous charges, including third-degree assault. The school is open today, and crisis counselors are available to talk to students after a terrifying afternoon.
We heard a boom, and then we heard the person came on and yelled lockdown 3 times.
8-year-old Amina Koser-Bowman is in the hospital. Her family gave a thumbs up after her surgery Wednesday night. Manuel Gallegos, CBS News.
2 American soldiers serving in Afghanistan are dead, killed in retaliation for the U.S. burning of Korans. Tina Kraus reports from London.
Afghan police fired on protesters during a third day of violent demonstrations that have now claimed the lives of 2 U.S. soldiers. CBS News has learned an Afghan soldier gunned down 2 American troops at a military base in a province of eastern Afghanistan. An Afghan official says the shooter killed the soldiers in retaliation for the burning of Korans at the Bagram U.S. Air Base. The killings came hours after the Taliban and some radical lawmakers called on Afghans to retaliate against foreign troops. President Obama has sent a letter apologizing for Tuesday's incident, calling the burning of the holy books an accident. Afghan President Hamid Karzai says a U.S. military officer burned the holy books out of ignorance and with poor understanding. He's pressing NATO to put those responsible on trial. Outrage is spreading across the country. These protesters say foreign forces have insulted their culture and don't respect their religion. Huge anti-American demonstrations are expected to sweep across the country on Friday after a day of prayer. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
There's something about a cell phone that wipes out all previous social etiquette. From concert halls to restaurants, there's no escape from the intrusion of our mobile devices. And some say it's time to change that. Alexis Christoforous has the story.
Eric Milster's bus trip from New York to Boston became 4 hours of torture, all because of a young woman with a cell phone.
Not whispering, not taking into account her other passengers, just a normal, loud, excited phone call for near 4 hours.
What would once be considered bad manners is now the social norm. On the street, on trains, and in restaurants, Americans just won't power down. Even a romantic dinner for 2 becomes a tug of war.
With your husband, you want his undivided attention.
The conductor of the New York Philharmonic recently stopped mid-performance rather than compete with a ringing cell phone.
This ringtone was going on and on and on, and it was actually the loudest thing in the hall.
That happened even though the Philharmonic plays a reminder before each performance. A recording of Alec Baldwin asks audiences to silence their phones.
Here, more than anywhere else, the slightest sound matters.
But Baldwin needed his own reminder. American Airlines threw him off a flight when he refused to turn off his phone. Social media editor Anthony DeRosa says our digital etiquette is getting worse, and it's time to remember our manners.
We should start to demand it from each other. So if someone all of a sudden pulls out their phone in mid-conversation, you should, walk away.
Because without some basic ground rules, these devices, meant to connect people, could actually drive us apart. Alexis Christoforous, CBS News, New York.
And that'll wrap things up from the Global News Desk. To see more stories from across the country and around the world, you can tune in to Trojan Vision Global News right after the nightly news. Now back to you, Bailey.
Thanks, Judson. And now Tiffany Lester joins us with sports. So Tiffany, kind of an action-packed day for Trojan sports. A lot of things are going on.
It's true. We have a lot of basketball today and tonight, and a lot of softball and baseball over the weekend, and I'll get into those details a little bit later. But first, let's take a look at the women's basketball game that's happening right now. There are only 1.5 more games to go for the women's basketball team, give or take, as the women are currently in action against the Panthers of Florida International down in Miami. The Trojans have fallen behind 18-40 at the half and the Trojans have yet to win a conference game on the road, and the final 2 games against the Panthers and the Owls of Florida Atlantic on Saturday are their very last opportunity. The Trojans wrapped up their home schedule with a loss to the Trojans of Arkansas Little Rock on Saturday. Troy will stay in Florida for Saturday's matchup against the Owls. Tip-off is set for 2 p.m. Central Time. And the Troy men's basketball team closes out the regular season this week with 2 contests in South Florida, beginning with a game against FIU tonight. With only an 8-17 overall record, the Trojans are coming off an overtime loss to West Division leader UALR this past Saturday in the final game ever at Sartain Hall. Troy has lost 2 straight overall and 3 straight on the road, so their confidence may be down, but Troy meets an FIU team that has struggled lately, having lost its last 4 overall. The 2 sides come in tonight's contest with just 1 game separating them in the Sun Belt standings, as seeding is on the line for next Sun Belt basketball championships. The Trojans and the Panthers are set to tip off at 6:30 p.m. And the Troy baseball team started the 2012 season right by taking 2 out of 3 from the Central Michigan Chippewas. The Trojans gave up 18 hits and 14 runs to Central Michigan in Sunday's loss. Head coach Bobby Pierce says that Mother Nature will have a big impact on whether or not they get to work on their trouble areas.
Always a regional type team, and playing at their places, a regional type atmosphere. So another big challenge for our group. We do have this week weather, if the weather will permit us to, get us some practice time in now that we've got 1 weekend behind us. Some things we definitely need to work on and improve as we get ready for that trip.
The Trojans head to Hattiesburg, Mississippi to face the Southern Miss Golden Eagles. First pitch is set for 6 p.m. on Friday, and they'll meet again on Saturday at 2 p.m. and then again on Sunday at 1 p.m. After getting rained out on Wednesday, the Troy softball team is set to return to action this weekend as they travel to Chattanooga, Tennessee for the Frost Classic inspired by Memorial. Troy is coming off a 2-1 weekend at the Quality Inn Classic, but the cancellation of Wednesday's game is not slowing down their momentum. This weekend, Troy will play 5 games against 5 different opponents. Starting on Friday, the Trojans will face the Ball State Cardinals at 11 a.m. and then take on the Buccaneers of East Tennessee State at 1:15 p.m. on Saturday. The Trojans will play another doubleheader at 1:15, and Troy will face the Cleveland State Vikings, and at 3:30 p.m. the Trojans take on Tennessee Tech Golden Eagles. And on Sunday at 11 a.m. Troy will face the Purdue Boilermakers for the very first time in school history. So Bailey, Judson, it's a very slam-packed weekend and week for basketball, women's and men's going on today and tonight, and baseball and softball going on this weekend. So we just wish them a lot of luck on the road, and hopefully they can just give us some wins.
Absolutely. Best of luck to them.
I know.
Thanks a lot, Tiffany.
Thank you.
Still to come on TrojanVision Nightly News, Aaron Taylor learns more about Troy's 125th birthday celebration.
But first, today has been dark and cloudy. Is rain in the forecast? Kendra?
Well, Judson, Bailey, break out those rain boots and raincoats because there is rain on the way. I have more coming up in weather.
All right, guys, we got to be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're going to run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm going to run around in circles, flatten my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros. We're eating right, too. We fuel up to play 60.
If your school doesn't have a program, be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Today is Saturday. Salad on Saturday, fruit on Friday, throw a ball Thursday. Water Wednesday, touch your toes Tuesday. Let's move Monday, swap us next Sunday.
60 minutes of physical activity a day and eating well can help get your child healthy. So keep them active and eating well every day. Get ideas, get involved, get going at letsmove.gov. That's letsmove.gov.
From the high-definition digital production studios of Troy University, you're watching the award-winning TrojanVision Nightly News.
Now, Kendra Richards joins us with weather.
So, Kendra, earlier this week we heard that it was definitely going to rain today, and it looked like it was going to almost rain all day today, but we haven't seen a drop yet. What's going to happen?
Well, Judson, the clouds are moving in. They're getting darker. We will have some rain tonight. But let's go ahead and get into further detail right now. Right now, let's take a look at our TrojanVision snapshot. Looking at our snapshot, you can see looking out over Bibb Graves, the sky is continuing to get darker. Clouds are rolling in, which means we may see some rain later on tonight. Right now, let's take a look at our current conditions for today. Our skies are cloudy with a temperature of 73 degrees. Our dew point's at 64 with the humidity at 75% and our barometer's at 29.71 and falling. And those winds are rolling in from the southwest going about 20, gusting 28 miles per hour. So it's really windy outside right now. Let's take a look at today's stats. Temperature 73 degrees. Our low 64. We haven't seen any rain just yet. The sun rose this morning at about 6:18. It's expected to set at about 5:37. Let's take a look at our temperatures across the state. You can see looking out over the state of Alabama, everybody's seeing warmer temperatures for today. It's February, but we have some high 70s, Huntsville, Birmingham. Everybody's seeing warmer weather today, so it feels great outside today with the winds, but the skies are looking darker. Let's take a closer look at our temperatures across the southeast, moving further down to the Florida area. Jacksonville is they're seeing 80-degree weather, as well as Orlando, 85 degrees. So once again, we aren't seeing any winter weather right now. It feels actually pretty great outside. Let's take a closer look at our temperatures across the U.S. You can see looking to the west of us, they have some cooler temperatures to the west of us. Looking out in Nevada, they have temperatures in the low 40s as well as the low 40s. So it's a lot cooler than what we're seeing in our area. Let's take a look at our current surface. Looking at our surface, there's low pressure resting in our area, which indicates there will be some rain. As we look closer at our area, we'll see that that low pressure is resting right above our area, bringing in a lot of moisture that we're going to continue to see for the remaining week. Right now, let's take a look at our current winds. Right now, it's very windy outside. Across the U.S., you can see there's wind gusting across the entire U.S. Everybody's getting this nice windy weather that we're having today. Our rain forecast for the next 2 days, we will see rain in our area, especially all of the southeast will see some rain with the next 2 days. And then looking at tomorrow's forecast, that rain will continue to move further east, moving away from our area. But then again on Saturday, we will have, rain will continue to clear out. And then Sunday, you can see the rain will come back to some parts of Georgia and southern parts of Alabama. Tonight's forecast, cloudy skies with a 40% chance of scattered thunderstorms, so be careful. You will need an umbrella, light jacket, and may want to try to stay inside because it's going to rain tonight, very hard tonight actually. The winds are going to be rolling in from the southwest going about 17 miles per hour, and our low tonight will be 64 degrees, so not too bad, but once again those winds will be blowing 17 miles per hour, and then we'll have those scattered thunderstorms. Rolling on into tomorrow's forecast, it'll be cloudy skies again as well, with a 60% chance of rain overall tomorrow. Another windy day, including all the rains that we're going to see tomorrow. And the winds are going to be rolling west-northwest, going about 17 miles per hour. And the high tomorrow will be 64 degrees, so it's not too warm, but it's going to feel pretty good. But you may need to try and stay dry because it will be nice and wet tomorrow. Waking up in the morning, 67 degrees. You may need a light jacket because those showers will be rolling in. Around 10 a.m. going through those 10 o'clock classes, it'll be about 66 degrees. And then moving on into 1 p.m., make sure you have an indoor lunch because it's going to be pretty wet around lunchtime. And then around 3 p.m., 58 degrees. Temperature's going to drop just a slight bit, but you need to go ahead and just try to remain dry because it will be nice and wet tomorrow. Let's take a look at our 4-day forecast. You can see for the remainder of the week, we will see rain in our area. Actually, a 60% chance of rain on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Then those temperatures are going to be in the high 50s, and then at night they're going to drop down to the low 30s and 40s. So you'll see we have rain. It'll be the rest of the week will be wet. Nothing but rain. Don't leave the house without your umbrella because it's going to be wet.
And I'll definitely take your advice. I'll have an indoor lunch. Thanks a lot.
Be sure to do that. You're welcome.
Thank you.